Hello everyone and welcome to my channel where I make random videos, reviews, vlogs, short films, and anything about filmmaking. So if you're interested to see more of my videos, don't be shy to click that subscribe button. Now that we get that out of the way, let's talk about what lenses I use on my travel videos and probably the best lenses I could recommend for your Sony Apsc cameras such as the A6000 series, the ZV-E10, and even the new FX30 for the year 2023. Now when it comes to traveling, I really love to shoot my videos with my Sony Apsc camera, where it is very light, compact, portable, and with a lighter and smaller lens lineup, which makes the whole setup easy to pack and more budget friendly, especially for someone who's a hobbyist like myself compared to the full frame sensors or full frame cameras. But don't get me wrong, I do love full frame cameras, but that's for another videos. During this video, I'll be talking about my own experience that I have with these lenses and what I use them for. Now, I'm not gonna go full detail on each lens, and I'm sure you can find a lot of videos out there if you want to know more about these lenses that I will be showing you. Now, let's get on with the lenses that I have in my collection, ranging from ultra-wide to telephoto in that order. So we're gonna start with the prime lenses first and then go with the zoom lenses that I have. So the first thing I'm gonna show you, or the first lens I'm gonna show you, is this Rokinon 12mm f2 ultra-wide lens, which I use mainly for vlogging, for it is an ultra-wide and gives you a lot of room to show what's going on in your background and thus tell your audience about your location and such. Plus, it's an f2, so it'll give you that nice bokeh or decent bokeh and background blur while vlogging, and it does help you become the focus of your video and does not make your background too distracting for your audience. And I really love this lens because it's very light and small. Now let's move on to my wide lens and also all-time favorite lens. This is my very first lens that I purchased when I first got my hands on my Sony Apsc camera. I find this lens very versatile and the lens that I use the most compared to the other lenses that I have in my collection. And here it is, if you can guess what it is. It's the Sigma 16mm f1.4. This is the lens I use when filming landscape or establishing shot. It does mimic a 24mm focal length on a full frame, which is why I love this lens when filming in tight spaces such as small rooms. I love this lens because it has a minimum focus distance of 25cm, I believe, and which allows me to film and get close to my subject and get that macro shot feel into it. Now, I don't really advise using this for portrait and close-up shot, especially when filming or photographing a person, for it does gives you a little distortion to the face unless you're aiming for that style or look. It's making your subject taller than it actually is. I do use this lens for vlogging sometimes, although it is a little tight to vlog with, but it's, feasible. Now this lens can stop down up to 1.4, which is really great for a low light and gives you that nice creamy bokeh for a cinematic shot. My only complaint is that they could just have made this lens a little smaller and compact, such as the, this Rokinon 12mm. or its brother, which is what we're going to talk about in a few seconds. But other than that, this lens is amazing and I love it. Now moving on to a medium lens, which is the brother of the Sigma 16mm and part of the Sigma 1.4 trio primes, is the Sigma 30mm f1.4. Now this lens is really great for medium shots, portraits, and close-up shots. This is close as to a 50mm focal length on a full frame size sensor, which makes this lens also versatile and very pleasing to the eye because it's kind of a way how we see the world. So this lens is really great when taking street photography and filming people in general, and it will look very natural and it gives you that feeling of being there. This is the lens I mostly use when filming B-rolls and conversation scenes on my short films. Much like its older brother, the 16mm f1.4, this lens also stopped down up to 1.4, which is not only great in low light but also gives you an amazing and creamy bokeh, which makes the video look cinematic. This lens is very incredible for its price and size, and it's more than capable for travel filmmaking. The only bad side I can say about this lens is that it doesn't have an optical steady shot, which means that if you're filming with a camera that doesn't have any IBIS or in-body image stabilization, and because of this lens has a longer focal length, you're gonna notice a lot of that micro jitter when you're doing a handheld shot. So you might want to consider using a tripod or a gimbal when using this lens. Now let's move on to our zoom lens. The first zoom lens that I want to talk about is my new favorite, the Sigma 18 to 50mm f2.8. This lens will cover your wide and medium range. This is the first lens I would grab when I travel. For the main reason is its size and weight. For a zoom lens, this is a great size to have in your travel bag. And also, if I don't want to bring a lot of lenses with me and I don't want to be changing lens all the time, this will be my all-around lens, and probably the lens I would pick if I only have to choose one lens to bring with. It can produce a great quality image, and it has a constant aperture of f2.8, which is also great for low light situations and gives out a nice bokeh. For me, this is like having a Sigma trio primes put together in one lens. The only downside to this lens is that it doesn't zoom in very far because it only has a maximum focal length of 50mm. But other than that, this is a great lens, and I highly recommend it for anyone who likes to travel with a lighter setup. Now, the last but not the least is my Sony 18 to 105 f4. And that's like having a 27mm to 157mm in full frame sensor. So this lens is very close to the new Tamron 35 to 150mm f2 to 2.8, which is a heavy lens if you have one. And with this lens, together with the clear image zoom of the Sony camera, you can even get farther range up to 200mm by cropping in without losing any details on your image, which makes this lens very versatile that can give you a broad range from wide all the way to telephoto range. With this 18 to 105 zoom lens, you can really get a shot from afar, especially when filming birds and other animals. You can just stand back so you don't spook them away. Now, one other thing I love about this lens is that it zooms in and out internally, meaning that it doesn't extend or change its physicality when zooming in and out, which makes this lens also great in gimbal use because you don't have to rebalance every time you're changing your focal length. The only downside of this lens is that it can only stops down up to f4, so you're not gonna get that nice background blur or bokeh, and it is not as good when it comes to low light situations. Although this lens has a constant aperture at f4, meaning that it doesn't change aperture when you're zooming in and out. At f4 kind of gives you that limitation to only shoot during daylight, and it becomes challenging when you're filming at night because it can introduce a lot of grain into your image, especially when you don't have enough lights to work around with. I wish this lens could stop down at least at f2.8, and this lens would have been perfect. And also, this lens is a bit bigger compared to my other lenses for travel. I don't know if I can count this as a downside or maybe an upside. Because of its size, I can actually hold my camera on the lens itself and extend my arm and vlog with it. It will, give me enough distance to put myself and my background in the shot. Although this is only my second best lens to grab when I'm traveling because of its size, but it's definitely one of the lens that I have so much fun with because of its versatility and durability. It is also my number one lens for gimbal use. Now, here comes the big question. Which want to choose from between primes and zoom lens, and what lenses should I bring with me for travel or everyday carry. Now that really depends on your situation, and the only way I can answer this is that technically primes are usually better when it comes to image quality, but zoom lens are far more versatile because it can cover a wide range and you don't have to carry as much lens with you when you're traveling. But it's really up to you on what type of work you do and which of these lenses best suits you. Are you looking for all-around lens for travel, or do you have a specific focal length for the type of video or photos you need? So let me know down below, what lens do you bring for travel and everyday carry? And also, if you have any other lens that you can recommend, I'd love to hear from you. So yeah, let's talk on the comments down below. Anyway, so that's it for today's video. Thank you for watching. I hope you find this video useful or informative. Please give this video a thumbs up and I really appreciate it. And once again, don't forget to subscribe and click that bell icon to see more of my videos. Until then, I'll see you in the next video, and have a happy new year. Hoping you the best of this year 2023. Ciao.
Tag your friends, like and subscribe, comment below. If I make this follow, don't let this flop, wait till the end, like for part 2. I'm going viral, I'm going viral.